Welcome into the football show this evening on Off the Ball. Still to come between now and 10 o'clock, we'll be hearing from Ruesha Littlejohn ahead of the Republic of Ireland's crucial Women's European Championships qualifier away to Ukraine on Friday evening, where if Ireland avoid defeat, they will be securing second place in their Group I and also be assured of at least a playoff spot for the European Championships when they take place in a couple of summers' time. Elsewhere, we'll be talking to Dan McDonnell from the Irish Independent. He will be looking back at all of tonight's Champions League action. Second halves just getting underway. Liverpool 1-0 up away to Ajax, and it's a goal apiece between Man City and Porto at the Etihad. And we will be looking forward to Dundalk's huge Europa League clash with Molde at Tallaght Stadium tomorrow evening as they get their Europa League campaign underway. But the Republic of Ireland will face England for the first time in over 5 years next month. They've been drafted in as a replacement opponent for a friendly at Wembley. England have been originally due to face New Zealand, who pulled out due to travel concerns, while the Republic of Ireland were slated to play Bosnia-Herzegovina away from home, but complications of travel there too means that the home side were seeking a different opposition and the FAI were then seeking another fixture. So everything just fell together nicely for that game at Wembley next month. Delighted to say that we're joined by the Republic of Ireland manager Stephen Kenny. Stephen, how are you getting on this evening?
Hi Will, how are you?
Yeah, good. I mean, this fixture is it's a glamour one. I know it's going to be behind closed doors, but it works out very nicely, I think, for both countries. It saves a trip to Sarajevo for Ireland, and it saves England having a blank slate in their friendly schedule too. It works out nicely for both nations, I think.
Yeah, I think the concept of having 3 games in a window is a new concept, and I think we learned some harsh lessons in the last window in relation to, particularly in these challenging times in the current COVID climate. And I think the games, the fact that we have games in short proximity, distance-wise, Wembley, great game in Wembley against England. Then we go to Cardiff to play Wales in the Nations League and back to Dublin to play Bulgaria. So the 3 great games, I think, very interesting. I think we need to give ourselves the opportunity to have the strongest squad available. And by having an easier, environment and, for everyone, for all of the players and their clubs, for us to be playing in England, training there, going to Wales, playing Wales, and then a short trip to Dublin really gives us a chance of having our best squad available, I feel.
Yeah, it cuts down on the travel compared to the window you've just come out of with trips to Slovakia and to Finland. Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton manager, was speaking at the weekend, and I
think that's the thing, Will, because I think that's overlooked. I think, the players, to be fair to them, it was tremendous, really. They played 120 minutes in Slovakia, then flew through the middle of the night to get home. Some of the players that played on the Sunday, then that was a Thursday night, played on the Sunday against Wales. And then obviously we had the situation where, so many players were ruled out as close contacts, which was incredible, really. So the players who played the 3 matches played 120, 90 and 90 and flew from Sarajevo in the middle of the night and back to Finland. So that's never happened before. That's all new. And I think... to be fair to the players who had to do that, no one complained. They're absolutely terrific overall.
Yeah, because I was just about to say that Ralph Hasenhüttl at the weekend was saying it was a big challenge for club managers getting used to this new international window, which is 3 games and the players away for a prolonged period of time with pretty quick-fire games, which is difficult in terms of keeping everyone fit and juggling squads. I'd imagine as an international manager, it's no easier than it is for the clubs having to get through 3 difficult games in a very short period of time.
I would never complain about that, Will. I think it's great that, listen, it's an amazing opportunity for the players to play for Ireland and, for all the coaching staff to be involved. It's amazing. And to have one game in the window, 2, have 3 is terrific. And once in normal circumstances, you just manage accordingly. And that's, we're not complaining about that. It's the way it will be. Even the World Cup qualifiers in March are going to be 3, I believe, in the window. So I think that's the way it is, and I've no complaints about that at all. You just have to. Everyone is in the same boat. You just have to, you have to plan accordingly. I think probably the difference in the last window was, for example, Finland in the friendly against Poland. They rested completely 11 of their team, and lost 5-1. They just rested the whole team. and where we sort of played 120, 90 going into the game. So there are disadvantages depending on the importance of the games. But I think we're looking forward. There are 3 great games for us in the next window now: England and Wembley, Wales and Cardiff, and Bulgaria in the Aviva Stadium. So the players have a lot to look forward to now.
When it comes to the England game, we had a few texts earlier on the show wondering about Ireland playing England, the potential impact it could have on world rankings with the seedings coming up soon. Was there any reservation on your part about taking on a friendly against an elite nation, or is that concern you at all?
Yeah, no, we did. We considered everything. We deliberated and we considered all the possibilities. We took advice from the medical team. We took advice from all parties. I think the key thing for us was having we don't want to be going. Last week against Wales, we went into the game without 13 of our squad, 13 players. We had, and that's not include. I'm not including, the Troy Parrots and the Darryl Lenahans who pulled out earlier. I'm talking about, initially Seamus Coleman, Harry Arthur. Then we obviously, in the match against Slovakia, we lost David McGoldrick and James McCarthy to injury. Then we lose Derek Williams. And then the close contacts, which were, Callum O'Dowda, Callum Robinson, John Egan, Alan Brown. I was picking, I spoke to all of those players on Saturday night at training and told them they're all in the team, told them where they're playing. They're all looking forward to playing. Robinson, O'Dowda, Alan Brown, part of our attacking players. We hadn't got Aaron Connolly and Adam Ida because they were obviously in their bedrooms at home, respectively in Brighton and Norwich, because they were isolating as close contacts of a false positive. So it was outrageous, really. And I think, so considering all of that, and we only knew that morning, we had to get on the bus at 11:30 and play a match at 2:00 against Wales, who had scored 4 goals against us and beat us 1-0 in the Aviva in the previous Nations League. So they'd rested Daniel James and Aaron Ramsey against England. So they had rested players. They were very focused on their game. And I think for their players to put in the performance they did on the Sunday, having had the disappointment of losing on penalties, which was so disappointing to lose that game. And then, it only speaks volumes for them because we actually edged that game against Wales. I think they didn't really have any chances. We didn't have many, but we had a few key chances that we didn't take. And I think, so we probably deserved to edge that game. And I think we were, but I can't fault the players. They're absolutely tremendous.
You roll with the punches when it comes to the situation. But as you mentioned at the outset, that wasn't an ordinary window that you've just gone through. I would imagine, you spend 2 years preparing yourself to take over the job. There's a very important international window coming up with a qualifier and 2 Nations League games. You could never have imagined the disruption that you had over that 7-day period.
No, I couldn't. And I could never have envisaged that. And, it's been a long week this week. We're really disappointed, kicking ourselves really about that we haven't qualified for the Euros. It hurts. I think I feel against Slovakia, it is probably one of the best away displays from an Irish team in a few years. And I think, Slovakia have a very good home record. And I think for us to go and play as well as we did, obviously it was the players had to take on a sort of a completely different style of play. And, they were exceptional, I felt, in a lot of the game. And, we're kicking ourselves because we had some really good chances in the game, and we know that, and the players themselves know that, and but they gave everything in themselves, and you can't fault anyone. I think it was a very good performance. To lose on penalties was difficult to take, but we have to accept that, and I think that's something that we have to live with.
The key is to try and turn some of these good chances that were created over the last 5 games into more goals. Is that something that you get much time to be able to work on, or is that down to individuals just hitting a piece of form, or what's the secret to trying to get these chances converted into goals, Stephen?
I think we need to get our best players available in the squad and And, I think when you're missing so many players, as we were for Wales and Finland, 13 and 11 altogether, all of our attacking players who were involved in the game, it would have been like you're sort of taking McGoldrick against Wales. You're taking McGoldrick. We haven't been able to play Dave McGoldrick and Aaron Connolly, for example, in the same team yet. Dave McGoldrick, Aaron Connolly, Callum Robinson, Callum O'Dowd, Alan Brown, they were all gone for those games. And I think they get in the game against Slovakia, some brilliant play. I think in the game against Wales, some good play. I think in the first half against Finland, we had a lot of possession, but we weren't penetrating. And, we looked at that, and for sure in the first half against Finland. Second half, we created quite a few chances, and obviously Enda Stevens hit the bar at 0-0. And I think we had quite a few chances in that game. And again, they didn't have many either. Darren didn't really have a save, although Pookie had 2 chances in the game from one from outside the box and one from an acute angle. I think but overall the attitude of the players were excellent. I'm not concerned about that. I know that we've got a lot of potential. I know that we've got a lot of good young players coming through. We've seen 5 players come through, from our underage system, play against Finland last week. Jason Malumbi, Darragh O'Shea, who was outstanding, I felt, on the night. Aaron Connolly, Adam Ida, and Jason Knight coming in. There's more where that came from. I think there's more players coming through. I think it's an exciting period. Looking forward to the World Cup qualifiers in March, preparing for that. I think we knew when we took over, in the previous campaign, there was nobody under 28 really in the team, 27, maybe 28. Obviously some more experienced players like Richard Keogh and Glenn Whelan have been in the squad who are brilliant servants for Ireland. And we, had great careers. Glenn Whelan, great career for Ireland. But a lot of players, still with a lot to give. But we've had to inject that, I think, with some really young talent and try and combine that with some of the experience that we have there, and to give us to try and maximise our performance and give us, a really strong squad that can play 3 games in a window, and we can make changes and still be strong. And that's what you have to do when you're faced with that. And I think so. We're looking forward now to the next window, to these 3 really good games for the players to play in. They look forward to the games, and then also coming into the World Cup qualifiers in March.
Much was spoken about the succession plan between yourself and Mick McCarthy, but given that you've been able to blood 6 of these players who were with you with the under-21s, were the couple of years with the 21s a beneficial period for you, Stephen, when you're reflecting it now?
I hope so. I suppose I'll be judged at the end of my tenure. I hope it is. I feel it was. I feel it gives an insight into, it's not what I looked for at the time. But when it was suggested and I decided to take that challenge on, with the under-21s with brilliant experiences, obviously leading the group and in the semi-finals in Toulon and playing Brazil and all of these teams, and with terrific full houses at matches, which was never the case. And all of the players became not household names but well-known names in Ireland, which was never the case. That had never been the case for as long as I can remember with the under-21 team. And so that was all new. So some of them are coming through now. We've got a lot of good experienced players, as we said, like John Egan and Matt Doherty, who have Premier League experience, but were very, very light on caps for Ireland. And they're terrific players. And I think and other players that we just need to get players playing in there. Some of our better players, we need to play regularly, like Robbie Brady. We could do it. Robbie playing regularly for his club, that would be important to us, and I think would give us options. And so that's what we want. We looked at the last weekend at a lot of our key players, and some of them didn't play last week, but they've been in and out of the teams, a lot of them, and that's the way it is at the moment.
Richard Dunn was on this show this day last week after the defeat against Finland, and his belief was that Robbie Keane could add something to the coaching team and help out the strikers. You made the decision when you came in not to keep Robbie Keane from the previous coaching team. What's your feeling about what Richard said last week? Is there any possibility that Robbie Keane could come into your coaching team, or in your opinion, have you picked your group now and that's what you're sticking with?
Listen, Robbie Keane was a great striker for Ireland, and he was important to Mick McCarthy for a couple of years as assistant manager. He was part of Mick's team for the last couple of years. I think Richard's entitled to his opinion. Richard and Robbie would be close, and Richard's certainly entitled to his opinion. He's a great player for Ireland also. I think Keith Andrews was my assistant manager with the under-21 team, did a brilliant job, very innovative coach. Damien Duff has been absolutely, exceptional on the training ground. And I think they're two young coaches we have, and we now have a system. It was always said that there was no pathway for players, even apart probably from Mick McCarthy, none of that sort of Jack Charlton, all those great players in Manchester United and Liverpool, and all of those great players and Arsenal, none of them were really involved very much. Liam Brady for a small bit as an assistant. None of them were involved over the years. But all of a sudden now, Keith Andrews and Damien Duff and Alan Kelly, who ex-internationals, are involved, and they bring a lot of they're very talented young coaches, and I think it's great to see them work, and they bring a lot and brought a lot to attack and play, and we just, as you say, in the Slovakia game, some of the players, I know they're disappointed. They didn't take the chances. It can play on your mind. Only natural decisions I make play on my mind, and that's the nature of winning and losing. Losing, does, none of us like to lose, and particularly when the stakes are so high like that. I think, I'm still livid that Aaron Connolly and Adam Maida were not available to me pulled on match day. The fact that in any other country they would have been eligible, because 1.8 meters. Aaron Connolly was, in Holland it's 1.5, in England it's a meter, and that, to me that was absolutely crazy. I still don't understand why they couldn't play and weren't available to play, and I'm still sort of livid with that, really. But I think there's nothing we can do about that. We played the game. We lost the game on penalties. The players were excellent overall. They really played well. I think I can't really fault them at all. We gave everything. Like some of the play was so imaginative. Some of the play was really to go to Slovakia and absolutely control the game for long periods. John Egan stepping out with the ball constantly was dictating the game, really. And I think they just, some of the chances we missed or we didn't take, or I've been lucky in my career, and I've been unlucky at times, and I think we're extreme. I believe you make your own luck over time, but I just can't believe we were quite unfortunate last week, and that's one of those things. Yeah, and I'd imagine as well, Stephen, given that you've got a philosophy that you want to play, and it's very clear that Ireland have changed the way they work the ball, coming out with it. It's going to go wrong from time to time. Like, you take a short kick out and it ends up with a goal in your own net last time out against Finland. But you must be quite happy, given that you've had fairly short windows to work with the players, the way they've actually applied some of the principles that you've been putting out in the training ground so far. Yeah, we'll improve again. I think when we get all our best players available, we'll improve again. I think scoring a goal has never been an issue for my teams. With the under-21 team, we 4 against Sweden, beat top team Sweden. They beat Italy under-21s a couple of weeks ago, 3 against Sweden, beat China 4. With Dundalk, we scored in every group stage match, I think, bar one, and of the Europa League, and we were the league all-time scorers, actually, the highest numbers. We broke the record for scoring goals, and the following year we broke it again. So I think as managers, never an issue scoring goals, I think, and the way we're set up in a very attacking way, so we won't have an issue, but we need to get our better attacking players in the team, and I think we will do that. And that's why we sort of have picked the game in England, because with Bosnia it would have been difficult. I think the clubs were very frustrated, with the situation last month. I think the players are under incredible pressure. I think the players themselves have to think about their welfare. They had to endure 2 players actually getting, getting coronavirus, and another 6 being eliminated through being close contacts. So, that has massive knock-on effects for them, for their lives, for their careers, going back to their clubs. And, I think that's very important that we try and limit the possibility of that. And I think give ourselves every chance of success, every chance of creating a good environment for the players. And certainly by taking those 3 games, we will do that. We will do that.
In terms of yourself and in this job, you've now been, in charge for almost a half dozen games now. You've had a few different camps with the players and a chance to settle into it. Is it what you were expecting? I mean, this is quite different to the 21's job or even Dundalk in terms of the national expectation levels, in terms of the media during the week, in terms of all that. It just kind of ramps up. How do you reflect on those first couple of proper windows you've had now as senior manager?
No, I have no problem with any of that. I think, I have no problem with expectation, except criticism, that it's part of the job. I've no problem with that. You have to accept that. And I'm used to that. I've been managing for 20 years now, so that's not an issue. I think we're just frustrated that we didn't win against Slovakia. That's the key match for us, and I think I think that's that's made it a longer week. And I watched a rerun of the game yesterday, 120 minutes, analysed it, and I think I think that's something that we have to live with. But we can be encouraged by the quality of the players' performance. We're talking about, we've been told our players can't pass the ball, that they're not good enough to play a certain way, and that sort of narrow viewpoint, and I think and that limited sort of viewpoint that we're only capable of playing a certain way. We're in the process of changing that concept, and I think the players really enjoy playing that way. They want to express themselves. The creative players want to show what they've got. And I think, when we get everyone fit and when we've everyone available, we'll gradually improve. We'll show our quality. And, I have absolute belief in a lot of the players. Really, some really good players. Some players, it's very difficult at club level sometimes. At some of their clubs, there's a high number of players in their squads. If you miss anything by being a close contact, for example, and you miss a few days training, you lose your place, and it's very, very ruthless in that regard. So we want to create an environment for the players that they're safe and that they flourish and they can collectively achieve things.
Stephen, your old club, Dundalk, have got a big night coming up tomorrow. They're up against Molde, first time since 2016 that they're in the group stages of the Europa League. It's a fantastic opportunity for them to play some big teams. I know behind closed doors isn't exactly ideal, but another great adventure that they're about to embark on now over the next couple of months.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, it's for the Dundalk players, it's brilliant because they had the league cancelled for a long period, and there's 17, a high number of players out of contract, didn't know where they stood. The season was such a short season. They didn't have a good season. They found themselves, quite a bit behind Shamrock Rovers, and in third and fourth position. They hadn't been in third position for 8 or 9 years. So to actually, for them the players themselves, so to get in, and qualify for the group stages is a brilliant achievement. I'm delighted for them, for all of the players, because it's a terrific group there. And I think Molde, the following year, you're talking about the Europa group stages when we're in, the following year we played, it was different rules then. This year you get knocked out, you get back in. In 2017 it wasn't like that. That's only a recent thing. 2017 we played Rosenborg, who obviously be the equivalent to Molde now. And we drew 1-1 in Oriel Park. We sort of left that one behind us a bit. We went out there and drew 1-1 in Norway, went to extra time, and Rosenborg got the winner in extra time. But they were a very, 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 very good team. But it just shows you against Norwegian teams you are capable of getting results, and it is a game that Dundalk can certainly compete. And obviously I've not watched Molde, and Dundalk have been able to sort of manage players because they're not going for the titles, so they've been able to take players off the other day and rest players and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can do well tomorrow.
Yeah, exciting challenge ahead. Stephen, just one final question for you in terms of getting ready for this triple header of games coming up next month. How difficult is it over the next while in terms of, again, COVID has changed everything, just being able to keep an eye on your players? I believe there's a really good kind of video resource that the FAI have, but it must be difficult not being able to get across to England to watch your players over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been very, very, very frustrating. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now of course we watch all the matches on Y Scout, and we have some of our coaches have been in England. Some of our coaches, been brilliant. People like Andy Reid and Sean St. Ledger, and Rory Higgins has been in the UK. A lot. So, certainly. Watching games. We've obviously been watching all the games on Y Scout. We're not unable to get there because of the isolation, and I think we're able to watch all the games, and we're getting to see everyone at length. We watch nearly every game everyone plays between us, and I think we're watching a lot of games, and the championship was on last night, and it's on tonight. And so we're able to get a good look at matches, and it was interesting to see that the players couldn't form. Obviously, Hardy Arter's come back from injury. He's played at Nottingham Forest, for example, last night. Adam Ida come on and was involved in the winning goal for Norwich. Scott Hogan has got back into the Birmingham team for the last couple of matches, having recently moved from Aston Villa. He's played. So a lot of players are losing. Chris Hughton's coming out of Forest now, and Cyrus Christie's playing right back there after his recent move from Fulham. So you see some of the games in the championship. Alan Brown is playing tonight for Preston in the midfield. So watching some of that earlier. So certainly you get an opportunity to see all these games.
Yeah, Stephen, thanks a million for joining us on Off the Ball this evening.
Thank you, Will. Thank you.
That's the Republic of Ireland manager Stephen Kenny. That friendly announced next month against England behind closed doors at Wembley. It'll be the second time in 7 years that Ireland have played them. A scoreless draw and 1-1 draws in the previous meetings. But that game will also be sandwiched in the Nations League fixtures where Ireland will be playing, as Stephen mentioned, against Wales and Bulgaria. OK, we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the women's national team who've got a big game coming up this Friday against Ukraine in their race to qualify for the next European Championships, and we'll hear from Ruesha Littlejohn when we come back.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
News Talk Breakfast.
So Ciara, hum a song. Wait. Okay, what's this song? Okay, she's searching, so wait 1 second now.
I was very close.
Was it Teardrop by Massive Attack? Yes! Google knows. And that's all the advertising that Google needs to do for a year. Basically, we now understand what Dr. Ciara Kelly is humming when she walks through.
Well, no. News Talk Breakfast.
In association with Air.
Weekday mornings at 7 on News Talk.
I was really busy today. And then I remembered I'd been invited to another party. It was just me, Rex the dinosaur, Ivy the doll, Maria the robot, and my daughter Lily, hosting with a plate of Jacob's crackers and biscuits. Kimberley, Mikado, Club Milks, the works. And yeah, I was late for my next meeting, but for one of Lily's parties, worth it. 'Cause I suppose sometimes it's those little in-between times that mean the most.
Jacob's, the welcome in-between.
What a time to turn 17. Months in your prime on pause, classrooms gone, training gone, summer slipped by. No face-to-face, let alone the shift, and don't even start on the leaving. Everything upturned, hard lessons learned. But sit and dwell? Never. Go harder than ever. All ready to make up for lost time. Staying focused, staying sharp, standing together. A united front for the future, however it plays out. Times like these teach you everything you need to know about yourself. The Electric Ireland GAA Minor Championships. This is major.
That's the sound of Brian banking the money he saved by going SIM-free at Harvey Norman. Buying a new smartphone shouldn't break the bank. Mobile network providers sell smartphones with long and expensive contracts. Contracts you're locked into for up to 2 years. At Harvey Norman, we have the biggest brands and the largest range of SIM-free phones, with smartphones from just €89. And with no long-term contract to sign up to, you're in charge. SIM-free smartphones at Harvey Norman. Break free and take charge of your phone.
Go! Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. This year has been a lot. Let's start fresh next year. Start the new year early at Skoda's 0% Restart event, where you can choose from our SUV range, the Kamiq, Karoq or Kodiaq, all at 0% finance. Visit your local Skoda dealer today. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit skoda.ie for further information.
What if you could change energy, broadband and insurance providers in minutes, saving you hundreds of euro per year? You'd think bonkers. What if it was free and you could store your details in a secure online account for future hassle-free switching? Totally bonkers. Bonkers.ie has been empowering consumers to switch and save for the last 10 years. It's why 9 out of 10 of them would happily recommend us to a friend. Bonkers.ie is accredited by the Commission for Regulation of Utilities. It's easy. It's free. It's bonkers.ie.
Hello, it's me again, the TV. Last Friday night was a little awkward. My family all gathered around for a big night in, but I had nothing they felt like watching. They were channel hopping like crazy. But this weekend, they were in for a right treat. Now we've got Now TV, I can stream whatever they're in the mood for. Movies, dramas, comedy, there's loads to choose from.
What's your TV got for you tonight? Now TV. 18 plus month passes auto renew. Terms apply.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Minimal contact in stadiums shouldn't stop the usual suspects from going down. Gamble responsibly. GamblingCare.ie.
Latest from the Champions League this evening. Liverpool continue to lead 1-0 in Amsterdam against Ajax. A Tagliafico own goal in the later stages of the first half as Liverpool ahead in that one. Man City went behind in their game at the Etihad against Porto thanks to a Luis Diaz goal for the visitors, but Sergio Aguero equalised in the penalty spot. Goals in the second half from Gundogan and also from their new signing this summer, Ferran Torres. Now his Pep Guardiola side 3-1 up. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich lead 4-0 against Atletico Madrid with about 10 minutes left. It's a goal apiece now between Inter Milan and Borussia Mönchengladbach. And elsewhere, Atalanta 3-0 up against Midtjylland in Liverpool's group, and Olympiacos 0, Marseille 0. All those games have just over 10 minutes left now at this point. Now, a huge game coming up for the Republic of Ireland women's team in their bid to qualify for the European Championships on Friday when they take on Ukraine. A win would guarantee them a place in the playoff. A draw may be enough. And Ruesha Littlejohn was in front of the press via Zoom this afternoon, and she was asked about whether the team has learned much from their last game against Germany, despite ultimately losing on the day.
Yeah, the Germany game was a huge learning experience for us. Look, they're one of the best in the world. They've been doing it for years. They're consistent. So for us, it's great to, compete against them and see, how much we need to work on and how far we've got to go yet. It's always good to test yourselves against the best. But, it'll be good for us going into this Ukraine game, after playing Germany. So we're looking forward to it.
Can I ask you, by the way, has Katie been talking about anything else apart from her goal in the last 48 hours?
What you mean, the cross?
Exactly.
Nah, but she was quite happy with it. She claims it was a shot, but she said she was whipping it in across the keeper if anyone got a head on it. So she's still claiming that it was a shot. But
it's good to see her though in such good form with such a big game coming up, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she's flying. Look, she's always been such a good player. Obviously being at Arsenal now and she's getting minutes regularly. She's like a very important player for them now. And she's very versatile. She's made that left back position her own. But we all know when she comes to Ireland, we want her higher up the pitch, creating chances and, hopefully scoring goals. So it's great to have her in good form going into this game.
Just go back on something you just said there to Tony about go to test yourselves against the best. How far do you think you are off challenging these teams?
Look, we've got a wee bit to go, but in terms of how far we've come such a far way since I've been in the squad. You know, most girls now are at professional setups, they're at professional clubs, and that's massive. You know, it's so important to be training every day against good players from all around the world. You know, there's not just English and Irish players in certain teams. There's foreigners from everywhere, which is huge. You know, you get people that are physical, fast, strong. You get people that are more technical. So it's, it's great to be testing yourself against these kind of players. But, for the women's team, we're making huge steps going forward. But obviously we need to keep pushing, and, the next step will be to compete against Germany and, trying to get results against them. But, I don't think we're too far off it, but all in good time.
Obviously, qualifying for a major tournament would be a massive step for the squad to take, and that's what's on the line on Friday. The fact that a draw would be good enough for you to get second place, is that something that can be a little bit dangerous, where you're kind of stuck in between how to approach the game?
Yeah, look, we know Ukraine. They're a strong team. They've got really good players in their squad, so it's going to be a tough game. To get a draw would be massive for us. I think for us, we need to just focus on, not switching off, not getting complacent. They're very good on the counter. They've got fast players, so we'll be aware of that, and we hope we can deal with it and manage it well. But we're just focusing on going into the game as best prepared as we can.
How have you been finding playing under Vera since you came back into the squad? She's obviously put a lot of faith in you personally.
Yeah, look, it's great. I'm really delighted that Vera and Jan Willem and Eileen has brought me back into the squad. It was hard being out of the squad for such a long time, so I'm really happy she's brought me in. It's great working under her. She's worked with teams in the past. She's always worked at a very high level, so it's great to have someone with her set of knowledge and experience, to be working under and learning from. So it's really good.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it there earlier as well. I think it's 8 years since you first came into the squad. In terms of the standard of preparation, the resources, the level of support and the exposure the team is getting now, is there a big difference? Does it feel like the team and Irish women's football in general has come a long way?
Yeah, of course. Look, I think now in the FAI, we've got the backing. We're a big family unit now, and it's great to have the backing of everyone. We've come away here, we're well prepared. We're here, we've got great facilities. So it's good. We're in a good place now.
Just ask about how it's been this week in the bubble. I mean, it's obviously a little bit tighter, a little bit stricter. And are you restricted even in terms of socialising with each other and hanging out with each other outside the training hours? And how much of a challenge has that been this week?
Yeah, look, it's tough. It doesn't feel normal for anyone, I guess. But look, we've got to be professional. We can't really risk anyone catching COVID in this case. So, we need to keep our distance from each other. We've always got our masks on. We're constantly sanitising our hands. And yeah, look, we can't go into each other's rooms and sort of have a chat and have a carry on. We just can't do it right now. But, that's fine. We need everyone fit and ready for the game. So we have to make these sacrifices,
Just in terms of your own journey with Ireland, I mean, how much of a difference do you see with this weekend, given that there's a flight chartered for Thursday, and is how greater or how much more professional does it feel going into such a big game this week than maybe in previous years?
Look, it's huge. The FAI have got the chartered flight for us, which is great. It's important. I think it's also important just with what's going on right now. There's no point of us, getting, going through different airports. It just heightens the risk of maybe someone contracting something. So it's good that we've got, the flight. We can just go on the flight, get straight to Ukraine, and then we're ready and focused for the game. So it's massive. But like I said, we've come a long way, and we're really happy to be working with FAI, and we've got their support, and it's great.
The last time out against Ukraine, it was Vera Pauw's first game in charge. How much do you think the group has come on since that first game?
Yeah, they've come on massive. I was actually at Tala watching the game. I was in the stand. I was being a fangirl. So, it was good. But the team, I think, obviously takes a bit of time to, get used to the new staff that come in. But everyone's bought into what Vera and the staff are doing. So that's the most important thing, that it's going well. Like I said, we're in such a good position right now, which is brilliant. But we're all just focused, we're ready for the game to come. And yeah, we trust Vera and we trust the staff, so it's great.
As you said there earlier, you've been a part of the Ireland setup for a while now. Just looking back at other campaigns or other years, how big an opportunity do you think this is now to actually go and qualify for a major tournament?
Yeah, it's massive. Look, for some of us, this could be the only opportunity we get, qualifying again. So we know how big it is, but at the same time, we wouldn't have it any other way. The pressure's on, but we're very lucky to be in this position. I don't know the last time it was maybe under Noel King that the girls might have got to a playoff. So it's been a long time coming. But it's great now to be in this position, and we're well prepared. So we're just looking forward to it.
Does it add a bit of pressure, a bit of urgency, knowing that it could potentially be like for some of the squad members the last chance?
Of course, but look, you play football. There's always pressure on you when you're playing football. Like they say, pressure's a privilege in playing football. So we just, have to, just see it. It's just a game. We can't let the surroundings and the occasion get the better of us. We just need to be focused and be calm, and we're ready. So.
Huge game for Vera Pauw's side coming up away from home against Ukraine on Friday. A draw is enough to secure second place in the group, and a playoff will be 100% assured if they were to get victory away from home, having beaten Ukraine in Tallaght in the reverse game. In the Champions League currently, Man City lead against FC Porto by 3-1, about 3 minutes left at the Etihad, and Liverpool are still 1-0 up away from home against Ajax. Fabinho has had a really good game for Liverpool. We'll take a short break. Dan McDonnell joins us after these.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
The moment you see the Volkswagen you want, from the new Tiguan SUV to the all-electric ID3, you just know. It drives the way you want it to drive. It's built the way you want it built. And it's powered the way you want it powered. Now is the time to follow your instinct. Search Volkswagen 211 today for our latest offers. Volkswagen.
We're living in Nice. And we're going to drop into downward facing dog. Yeah, I have. Hang on. I have 3 kids and sorry now, I'm just a little bit upside down here.
Want to talk life insurance while doing yoga in your living room? Now you can. Chat from home, by video or phone with your financial broker or advisor about protecting your family with Irish Life. Get peace of mind knowing they're protected and really strengthen your core at the same time. We know Irish Life. We are Irish Life. Irish Life Assurance plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Is there a difference between new Bachelor spaghetti hoops and spaghetti shorts? We asked the experts.
They taste different. No, the exact same. Those ones are kind of like a little not hoops, but they're like snakes and caterpillars. Hoops are hoopier. I'm learning how to shape circles, and those are a lot of circles.
New Bachelor spaghetti hoops and spaghetti shorts. In store now.
The shape is the only difference.
When it comes to reviewing your finances, a good place to start is by reviewing your mortgage. It's something few people ever do, but if you never review your mortgage, you'll never know if there might be a better option. That's where the Ulster Bank mortgage team could help. Wherever you bank, be sure to talk to us and see if switching could make a difference. Just search Ulster Bank Switch. Ulster Bank. Help for what matters. Over 18s only. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
This October, watch the big games every weekend with Sky Sports and Sports Extra half price. This week it's Man United Chelsea live only on Sky Sports.
Rashford, Martial!
In a star-studded clash.
Mason Mount finds the legend.
Get Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports half price for 6 months. Search Sky Sports Sale. New sports customers only. Standard pricing applies after 6 months or if cancelling one element of the bundle. Minimum term and further terms apply.
If you're travelling for a hospital visit or essential works, make the journey easier at the Red Cow Moran Hotel, just off the M50 and N7. Stay in comfort and safety. We've introduced new medical-grade cleaning standards, and we've got plenty of room for everyone to remain socially distanced. Stay safe at the Red Cow Moran Hotel. For flexible bookings, see redcowmoranhotel.com.
This Irish success story is brought to you by Guaranteed Irish.
Home to Sean O'Casey and W.B. Yates, Mountjoy Square is also home to DID Electrical's first store since 1968. Now employing 350 people in 23 stores nationwide and online at did.ie. DID continues to deliver, install and demonstrate the latest appliances and technology. Guaranteed Irish welcomes companies that are altogether better choices for our communities. So look out for it. Guaranteedirish.ie. Altogether better.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. Minimal contact in stadiums shouldn't stop the usual suspects from going down. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Well, it looks like both Liverpool and Man City are on course to register opening night wins in the Champions League. Liverpool still 1-0 up against Ajax in Amsterdam. About 2 minutes of normal time left in that one. And they're into injury time at the Etihad, with Man City leading against Porto by 3-1. Time to chat football now. Dan McDonnell from the Irish Independent is with us. Good evening to you, Dan.
Evening, well, how are you?
Just kind of thinking a few bits and pieces Stephen Kenny was talking about. One that he stressed, he's not had a chance as yet to get Aaron Connolly onto the same pitch as David McGoldrick. Now, it's not going to be any simple solution to Ireland's goal drought issue, but he's obviously excited about the potential of those two starting in the same Irish attack at some point.
Yeah, it's a bit of a quirk, all right. They would have been available for the game against Finland and Dublin, but McGoldrick only came in at the end pretty much as Connolly was coming off. It was obviously in the plan for Slovakia, and then, as Stephen Kenny pointed out there, he was pretty livid around the loss of Connolly, but it prevented them the chance from seeing how they would operate together. And you can see how, in an ideal world, it would work out. You know, that McGoldrick can drop into those deeper positions and try and sort of create. As much as he's the number 9, and you probably want them on the end of chances, in some respects, when you think of McGoldrick and Connolly, you're almost thinking of one making, McGoldrick almost feeding Connolly. You could make runs in from his side. So it's definitely a sort of a valid point to make, that hopefully he'll get a chance for them to work together. And you would think, November will be the time for that, all going to plan now that they've worked out this maybe logistically friendly window compared to what it might have been if they'd had to travel to Bosnia and clubs would have been crying foul, perhaps.
Yeah, and while logistically everything makes a lot of sense, Charlie in Cork was onto us in the text on 53106. He thinks Ireland are crazy to play against England because in all likelihood they'll lose, and it's going to affect their rankings even further ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. Yeah,
I mean, you look into this a bit more and it doesn't seem as bad as you might think, in the sense that I'm not going down a FIFA rankings rabbit hole here, but because England are higher ranked and because it's a friendly, the weighting of it is such that it won't be a dramatic, upset or dramatic sort of damage to the plans if Ireland do lose the game, which is of course possibly the most likely scenario, and that because everyone else in Europe pretty much has a game arranged already that night as part of the very structured schedule that there is. I mean, England were at a loose end because the game with New Zealand was called off. And if this is the scenario that allows for a smoother preparation for the Wales and Bulgaria games, which will be more important for ranking because they're competitive, then maybe the risk is just about worth it. Like, the ideal world scenario is to play a game that they can very much win. But I think they were fearful, the FAI, and I think Stephen Kenny said it there, that if they had gone to Bosnia, they would have been down quite a few players. And actually, the way it works out, losing to Bosnia would do more damage to the ranking than losing to England would. So there's two ways of looking at it. Yes, it would be great to have a nice winnable friendly, but I don't think they were sort of. I don't think they really had the options there to sort of pick one. It's way harder to dicky around with the rankings than it used to be in the past, when Wales and teams like that were skipping friendlies because it was worth it. You can't really do that now under the TV deal that's there.
Yeah, and Bosnia away, Dan, would have been no gimme anyway. It's not like as if I think Ireland would have had a dramatically better chance of winning at Bosnia-Herzegovina than they would at Wembley anyway.
No, that's the thing. But I think the more important point is that it's the Wales and Bulgaria games really that will probably dictate the seeding position, just because they're competitive. They'll count for a little bit more. So I can understand where Charlie's coming from. I understand, and that was my initial reaction when I heard the game. I was like, oh no. But when you look into it a small bit more, it doesn't. It doesn't maybe, it's not going to have as dramatic an impact as you might think. And if it makes for a smoother preparation for the Wales game, I can see what they're thinking. But the flip side, of course, as well, is that there's momentum too, and a lot of focus on the England game. As much as it's closed doors and it's going to be diluted to what it would be, you can see how there could be a lot of emotion invested in it. And there'll be more people watching it. So if you have a big defeat, it can dent confidence and make a bit of a sort of a atmosphere around the camp that you want to avoid. So there's no doubt it's a risk, but I think if you can look at it glass half full terms too and say it's a good quality test, and if they did something in the game, it might almost lift spirits going into the Wales match and the Bulgaria ones, which are really important.
Was watching Dundalk on the UEFA magazine this week, Dan, and you had Brian Gartland and also Gary Rogers being interviewed, two guys who are well into their 30s at this point, getting another chance to play in the Europa League. And they were just talking about, and I think Brian Gartland said it at the Aviva when we were at the KI game a few weeks ago too, that Dundalk are really embracing this opportunity to get back into the Europa League group stages again.
I mean, it's a fantastic thing. And like you mentioned, the UEFA programme there, I mean, this is what clubs in Ireland that talk about Europe every year. Like at the end of every season, when someone wins the league or qualifies for Europe, they talk about European nights. And the dream is always this. The dream is like a night, like, the opportunity to play group stage football where you see tonight there's Champions League on tonight and last night, and this is the group stages that brings you into the winter. And to have an Irish club participating in that, to be playing in the same group at the same time as Arsenal tomorrow, and just part of that broader debate and picture, it's brilliant. The flip side of that is, though, I mean, I did watch that UEFA thing you mentioned, and I had a couple of thoughts about it. Like that, yeah, it's great to be, here's Dundalk and what it means to the people at Dundalk and all of this. Of course, none of them can go to the games, so it's so different. I mean, my probably two most enjoyable years in journalism in a way were probably 2011 when Rovers were in the Europa League, and 2016 when Dundalk were, because they're just great events those nights. All the games spring to mind very easily. Those winter nights against Spurs or PAOK or Alkmaar, be it for all the Zenit St. Petersburg, all the various games, and it is going to be very different this time. And also Dundalk's, I mean, you had Stephen Kenny on earlier. There's a certain romance around Filippo and the Italian unlikely coaching staff, but maybe like do Dundalk's owners at the moment fully grasp even the community aspect of the club. There's been wrangling over even trying to play the games in Windsor Park and all sorts of stuff going on, that the buzz is a bit different. And I just hope that the players and even like the supporters up there feel engaged and really involved in it to the same degree that they did 4 years ago. I mean, maybe it's just the times we're in now that nothing seems as special because everything is a sanitized version of what we know, that it doesn't feel the same, that the buzz doesn't feel the same. But I hope that maybe still tomorrow at 6 o'clock when you see all the sort of the ceremony that still will surround it, that it feels like the real thing, even though at the moment it feels like a diluted version of it.
Well, Dan, we'll look forward to it, and looking forward to going to Tallaght Stadium tomorrow night as well. Dundalk kicking off their campaign against Molde. Thanks a million for joining us on the show tonight, Dan.
Thanks, Will. See you there.
Well, look, a lot to look forward to tomorrow night, and indeed on OTB AM in the morning, 7:30. It is your sports breakfast show here from Off the Ball. Phil Egan is going to be on to talk about the football, the fallout from tonight. Also, the Liverpool Echoes, Caoimhe O'Neill. We'll be looking forward to Liverpool getting 3 points just about in their game against Ajax. They have won by 1-0. Man City have beaten FC Porto, meanwhile, by 3-1. Michael Verney will also be previewing the weekend's hurling with Ger and Owen. You've got Clare against Limerick, cracking game coming up. We've heard on the show this week from Cian Lynch and Tony Kelly on OTB AM 2. Tomorrow night we're going to be back at 7 p.m. Nathan is going to be joined by John Giles and David Myler, who will give their verdicts on the Champions League action from this week. We'll also be assessing the progress the 20 by 20 campaign has made over the last 2 years. We'll be asking what else needs to be done. Sarah Colgan, Rena Buckley and Fiona Steed will be joining us. We'll also be hearing from the Dundalk camp straight after the final whistle in their group game against Molde. I will be at Tallaght Stadium for that one, where there's a 5:55 kickoff. Tom Dunn will be up next. Good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow.